John, first off, what's the team news looking like for this weekend? A few bumps and bangs last week.
Everyone that played last week should be available. We've had a longish turnaround, plenty of rest and plenty of opportunities to get some football in as well. So, unfortunately, no one fresh from the injury list, but we come through the weekend okay.
Good. In terms of a couple of the longer term ones, Will Price, John Asiata, how are they getting on?
Yeah, look, it's just a process, mate. They've got their hammy protocols that they have to go through. They just slowly get better every week. We'll test them at the 6-week mark, and then we said at the start they're probably 10-week injuries, and we wouldn't think they'd be any earlier than that. One
of the things that's noticeable this week is that you've changed where you're training, the training pitches, using a different pitch. Is that because of the weather, the conditions, and the fact that we've had no rain for however long? And to what extent might that have played a part in those injuries that you've got?
Yeah, we don't think it's a major issue. If you look around the competition, there's lots of soft tissue injuries. Both sides of the world at the moment. Game's just getting faster. Athletes are getting bigger. They're hitting harder, and that just leads to more injuries. So we track them. We do everything we possibly can to minimise them. But the nature of our game just says that it ain't going to happen. So. Look, we normally train down the back, but just the excessive dry weather hasn't enabled us to get down there. It's too hard. We've trained on the 4G up until this week, and now we're on we just had to wait till we got the right field to train on, and that's popped up. Now we've got a grass field that's irrigated, and that's always been the plan from day one. It's just that we didn't have a grass field to go to.
Have you been doing a rain dance?
No, not me. I'm scare it off. But yeah, it looks like we're in for a bit of dry weather to come too. So I think a lot of clubs have been challenged by it, to be honest.
Aside from the hard pitches, how does it affect training? Because presumably it must take more out of players when they're training in this heat.
Yeah, you just got to.
But not all Australian, are they?
No, just got to be adaptable. Your training loads just have to come down a little bit. You're in the middle of the season now, so if they haven't been playing, they've been getting worked really hard in the rehab. So fitness is not a problem this stage of the year. It's managing your group and just trying to avoid injuries and do enough to keep them fresh every week.
You're just past the halfway stage of the season now, sitting in 6th place, so in the top 6. Where are you in terms of performances overall and the position from where you would have liked to have been when you started?
Yeah, I didn't. It was very hard to set any sort of task at the start of the year, just with the amount of new players that we had. It was just more about nailing our game down. We're all new to each other, new coaches, new players. Growing tight as a group and competing hard every week, and I think outside a game or two, we've been disappointed with some of the losses we've had, but in those games we've been a chance to win the game as well. So that's probably one box tick that boys go out, compete hard, they try till the final whistle. The weekend again was a good example. We scored a couple of tries in the last 5 minutes. We had to kick the goal. We would have got back to within a try. So whilst not happy with the way we played, I like the way we compete. We never give up and we keep playing till the end.
You were talking about individual mistakes last week. How, as a coach, can you eradicate them?
Yeah, there's not a magic wand that you can fix errors. It's part and parcel of the game, and if you get more than 2 or 3 guys having a bad day on the one day, very, very hard to win. And statistically, last week with what we turned up with, we were never going to win the game. Didn't matter who we played. We just gave too many chances to the opposition, which is an area that we've been pretty good at, probably in our last month of football. So we've dealt with it. Trained well this week. You just got to put it down to a one-off. But until after the game on Sunday, we'll make that call.
Is there an issue playing at home at the moment?
No, I don't believe so. Look, it's until we win one there, it's going to keep popping up. The more I pay any attention to it, the more it probably plays on the minds of the players. So it's prepare well, know the opposition, trust our game, and I've been in this situation before at different clubs. You've got to be careful how much attention you give to it, because it tends to just sort of manifest itself.
Self-fulfilling prophecy, if you keep talking about it, in other words.
Yeah, look, it's there. We all know it's there. This week probably accentuated more than before, because it was a game. I think we've only started favourites probably 2-3 times this year. So it was a game we were expected to win, and being at home, to lose it just adds to to what's been quite a while now. So it's not something we're dwelling on. We certainly want to repay our fans and each other with a good result at home, and we just got to keep working towards it. It's really important because we've got a lot of games at home in the back end of the year. Big games, it's going to be a tight fight for the playoffs. So there's going to be a lot of big games at home between now and the end of the year.
You're going to be favourites this weekend as well. So how do you make sure that, or maybe I should rephrase it, what's the message going to be to the players then? Is it along the lines of don't wait for things to happen, make things happen? Yeah,
just got to be tough on ourselves, and it's more of a battle with our minds this week than worrying too much about the opposition. It's something that I sort of always encourage anyway. It's if you no chance to win the game if you don't sort of sort your own backyard out. So it's just more of an emphasis on that. Again, knowing your opposition, knowing what to expect. But for us, it's a really important game. We're over the halfway mark now, and we've put ourselves in a position where destiny's in our own hands. So it's a really important game, and we're treating it as such.
Given what you said a moment ago, John, about everybody getting to know each other, you being you as well, does that suggest maybe you're expecting a better second half to the season in terms of results, in terms of performances, because everybody is that much more experienced with each other? Plus, as you also mentioned, you've got a lot of games at home, so if you can get that monkey off the back.
Yeah, look, a lot can happen. Look, we've got a fair few important players not on the field at the moment. So that can really affect how you play and the results at the end of the day. But we're fortunate in that they're all going to be back at some stage between now and hopefully the next 4 or 5 weeks. So when we are at full strength, I think we can do things. Like at the moment they're fighting hard. We're working hard for our wins. We had a couple of really good wins. With pretty much the team that'll play this week. But key players are a hard thing to replace. That's tough. But like I said, on the bright side, we're not far away, and I just feel if we can just keep sneaking along, I'm very confident at full strength that we can cause some damage.
What do you expect from Salford this weekend?
What they've been giving, they fight. They look like they're improving to me. Their results probably don't indicate that, but you've got to be in a position like they are in to know exactly what they go through. Footy's a tough game physically, but when you've got mental challenges off the field, as far as wondering where your paycheck's is it going to be there? Players coming and going, the viability of the club. It's tough, So, but it looks to me like they're galvanising around that, and it's a dangerous game. Anyone who goes there and takes them easy, you're in for a battle. Come
kick off, though, your players can't be thinking about their situation on or off the field, can they? They've got to be totally focused on what they want to do and have no sympathy.
No, definitely not. No, there's no sympathy in football. Like I said, the week has been about getting us ready physically, mentally, and going there for a tough game. If we expect anything less, we'll get the same result we got last week.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Done, mate.
Hi, John. What's the status with him, please? He said last week he could be playing this week.
No, he's rolled a knee at training early in the week. He's had a scan. Poor fellow, it's unfortunate, but it's not a short-term injury. Don't ask me how long, I don't know, but he won't be available in the short term, no.
It's a big setback because he was in full training, wasn't he, and looking good.
Yeah, it is a major setback. Area of the field that we are sort of a bit limited at the moment. And he would have played this week had he got through training, but he's had a little bit of a medial problem in his knee, and we'll know a bit more time-wise a bit later.
How is he? Have the boys got around him this week?
Yeah, everyone feels for him. I feel for him, and he's a good lad. He feels he's got a history at the club, and the club he's come in this year really wanting to make a difference, and it's just been one sort of roadblock after another. So everyone's got around him. He'll work hard now on getting it right and playing a part between now and the end of the year.
In terms of Jed and Jordan, is it just still week to week?
Yeah, mate. I think we said last week 4 weeks. So hopefully, 3 or 4 weeks now.
Good stuff. Obviously, a few players played on Joe Regin on loan at the weekend. Obviously, Fashion's in there, Gardner. Obviously, 2 more have gone on loan this week. You said you wanted to do that, so some good opportunities now for young players, for fringe players, to get some experience, which is vital. Yeah,
that's great. The more they can play, the better. The boys that went to Hunslet pushed Featherstone all the way, and they both did good jobs for us. Guards and Fashy have been doing a great job at Doncaster. They're competing and winning every week. It's a win-win for us and the clubs they go to.
And these two are a little bit younger, aren't they, Joel and Lennon? So it'd be first taste of first team rugby, which I suppose is exactly what they need at this stage.
Yeah, no, fortunate that we've been able to land them a spot, and that's where they learn. It's good to be able to train against the opposition they train against every week, but when the whips are cracking and it's full contact and full noise, that's when you learn.
Reserves game last week, good derby win for some Hull boys in that team. I mean, you were there. What did you make of it?
Yeah, it was a good game. It was very physical. It was a great promotion for the game in Hull. Really, it was one of the local clubs at Cot Tigers. It was a big crowd in attendance. Both supporters got behind their teams. It was played in great spirit. It was very physical. We had our whole squad there, and there were lots of kids just having a lot of fun and getting photos with the players. I thought it was a really good performance from our players, but also a great promotion for the game.
Jack Charles spoke highly of you and the style that you want to see from your halfbacks. It's something Aidan spoke about to us previously as well. So it's good to see that coming to fruition at all levels throughout the club.
Yeah, he played the Kent boys and him and young Hutch. They played really well. They're really, really young. Lots of time in front of them, but I thought they're steering that team around really well. Be lovely to get them a bit of game experience at the next level up as well. But at the moment, they're doing a good job, running our reserve grade team.
There was a report from a rival website this week. Jack Ashworth's commanding a bit of interest from Castleford. Is there anything you can tell us there, please?
Yeah. No, well, it's like anyone, mate. Anyone off contract, there's always a bit of, I suppose, noise around what's happening there. Again, we're just sort of still in stalemate till we find out about quota spots.
Has there been any breakthrough, any steer there or anything at all?
No, not really. Until you hear something official. I've heard all the things you've probably heard, but until you get something official, you just can't do anything. We've got things in place ready to go, but we've just got to wait for that. The official word that what the quota will be.
When you say you've got things ready to go, Liam Knight, is he one of them? Because he's played his spot very highly off this year.
Yeah, we'd love to keep him. We haven't hid from that. He's in our plans if and when we get the call around quotas.
It's a weird one, I guess, for Amir Borough and Cade Cuss this weekend, going back to an old club, but with what's going on there, does that add any emotion to them as players?
Oh, look, they've got good friends. They played there for a while. They had a bit of success there. They've definitely got good friends that play with the club, and I'm sure after the game they'll catch up and have some conversations. But going in, it's just all business for us.
And how about yourself as well? It's a former club of yours. It's the first chance you've got to come up against them this year since coming to UK, since coming to Hull. Have you still got any mates there, people in the region?
It's been a long time, mate. So for a while, I did keep up contact with some guys from Salford, but as I said, lots changed since then. Really looking forward to going there and I'm sure there's some fans that were there at the time I played, if they're not too old by now. And they were a great club. I had a fantastic time there, and hopefully I can bump into a few guys from that era.
And obviously, in terms of Hull's remit this week, I'm guessing it's getting back to what you did so well at Leeds, at Cartwright and at Lee.
Yeah, just competing. It's winning the little battles that everyone faces as individuals. Doing the little things well. Ticking the things that we talk about all the time. Just didn't give ourselves a chance last week. I think if you watched the game yesterday, it was a game of two halves in the State of Origin where New South Wales just made way too many errors, give away 8 penalties, and they're down by 20 points at half time. It was very similar for us last weekend. It was just too many 60-goes, too many penalties and too many errors. It makes it too hard to win the game.
Since you mentioned it, and you're proud New South Wales man, you was on the coaching staff last year. It's a decider now in a few weeks' time. What are you tipping?
Yeah, Blues, but you just, I was worried yesterday because so many people tip, whenever that many amount of people tip New South Wales and New South Wales favourites, Queensland always find a way to somehow spoil the party. And, I'm sure next week will be the same. It'll be in Sydney and, New South Wales will be favourites and Queensland will be written off. And as a Blues, that's what scares you the most.
Cheers, John.
Hi, John. Just for a fan's perspective, can you tell us how important it is that you have a decent training facility to help you in preparation and everything?
Yeah, it is. Injuries can make or break your season, or they do make or break your season. So, there's you've got to treat your players as the best you can possibly do with what's available, and we've been doing that. There's no. As I said a few times now, there's no stone unturned in trying to keep players on the field, trying to avoid injuries. We spend a lot of our week around doing that, but the nature of our game just, like I said, says that won't happen. But everything we can do to make the environment better, we do.
And thinking about the new facility that you've been training on the last couple of days at East Riding, it's got the irrigation so it can be watered. It's also got drainage in there as well for the wetter weather. Is that something you're hoping to be long term?
Yeah, well, it's just a consistent surface. It's flat. It's got a bit of give in it, and it's like the surfaces you play on. So we try and do that as much. The thing that is highly recommended is you don't keep changing your surfaces. So till we came up with a decent grass pitch, we had to just work away on the 4G. But this has become available, and I think it's made a difference with what we're able to do. Like moving forward, it'll be a handy asset for us for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I think it was a high-intensity speed session you put on for the guys this morning, and I think they was complimentary of saying how soft it was because we've tried putting a bit of water on it, and it seems to be paying off at the moment as long as they don't get too hot. Just in terms of Australia, I know it's sort of rainy season, wet season over there at the moment, but the beginning and the end of the season, it's similar conditions to what we have now. What do they do in them same sort of weather conditions?
Well, the main problem you have here is when the pitch gets frozen, so that you certainly don't have that trouble over there. Most clubs now, it's a bit like the Premier League. They have fields, all-weather fields, to train on and to play on. So there's no real issues there with having a decent surface to train on.
Thank you, John.
Yeah.
John, just two or three for me. Just firstly. So Jed, I just want to check on his contract. When he signed an 18-month deal, and I've read an interview saying he's got a year left, so 2026.
Yeah.
Can I just get some clarity? Is it 2026 that he's...
Yeah, he's signed for 2.5 years, not 18 months. So
Right.
he's still got a year to go on his contract.
Okay. And I know you said about what you're waiting for the quota situation, but Tom Briscoe, can you provide any sort of clarity on his situation?
Again, mate, until we get clarity around quotas, it's very difficult to re-sign anyone at the moment. It's hard. Well, you just basically, there's a long way between now and next year, and you need to keep your options open. So that's we're just going to have to sit tight and wait till we get a clarity on that.
Is that tough on the players? Because obviously they could...
It's real tough on the players, real tough on the clubs, tough on everyone, yeah.
Just lastly, in conjunction with that quota thing, would you like to see the salary cap raised a little bit as well?
Oh, look, that's more a question for the clubs themselves. You know, the last thing you want to see is clubs try and keep pace with the wealthy clubs and not be able to sustain it. So, you know, that's a question for the clubs and the game themselves. Like, look, the better the salary cap, the better quality of player we're going to get, and the better quality of competition we're going to get. But you know, that's perfect world stuff. It's what you can afford to pay at the end of the day. So if they can raise it, it'd be fantastic. The competition, the quality of the competition will go up, but we don't want clubs going broke either.
Hi, John. What is the mentality? You're going into a game against a team that are getting thumped week in and week out. What's the mentality? Is it any different this week compared to any other week because of the nature of the?
No, not really. I still say, you know, if you're not totally committed in a game at this level, you get beat. So we're not going well enough to not be totally committed against anyone. You know, I think, and it's been the message from us as coaches all year. It's prepare well, give yourself best chance. And the result will sort of take care of itself, you know. But for whatever reason, I thought there were, you know, there were areas in the game that we tried hard last week, but we just turned the ball over and gave way too many opportunities. And there's no excuse for that. Whether that's preparation, whether it's you know, thinking we might be going a little bit better than what we are. You know, we need to be at our best every week, preparation wise, getting to the game, you know, headspace, all that. And yeah, we're going to. Doesn't matter. We're not even concerned who we're playing this week. We've got to get our performance up.
So basically, is it fair to say Salford are going to test you the same way that even someone like a Wigan or a Hull KR would test you in many of the same ways, and it's got to be the same mentality. You know, there's a team there that needs to be beaten. Yeah,
look, I've got no doubt. They fancy themselves for a win this week. You know, if they looked at our game last week, they would certainly say that, you know, there's a team that we can go out and beat. So that's something, you know, we have to deal with as well. You know, it's it's everyone sort of sits back and comments on Salford, and yes, you know, their performances haven't, but if they're out there smelling a victory, there's enough experienced players and even young players who, if they do get close to a win, they're going to be tough to beat. So it's more about our process, getting things right, doing what we did well when we're winning games. It's sort of, there's no secret there, and that's all the messages has been all week. You know, keep things simple, do what we do well. Result will take care of itself.
And obviously they brought in a couple of loan players from Warrington this week, and they've lost a player to Warrington. How does that affect them? Because obviously we saw it here last year, a lot of players in and out the door all the time. What does that do to a club when they're having to go into the loan market as much as they are having to at the moment?
Yeah, look, it can affect your continuity. You talk about having off seasons together and spending time together. So when you're doing that, it's difficult. But they're sort of a totally different circumstance. I think with what's happened there, it's, you know, the club's sort of just been hell and back, I suppose, as far as survival's concerned. So sometimes that can galvanise you as a group, and we just got to expect their best come Sunday.
And I watched them on Sunday in their game against St Helens, and to be fair, yeah, they were put to bed quite early by St Helens, but then they forced their way back into it, and they scored towards the end. So that obviously says a lot for them, for the fact that they're not going to give up on this, are they? They're not going to go away and just roll over, are they?
No, we can't. That won't happen, and we can't expect that to happen. You know, like I said, there's some. They're giving some young blokes an opportunity, some blokes on loan who are going to be looking to impress, and they've also got, you know, some good experienced pros in their team. So, yeah, if it all comes together on the day for them, as I say, there's no easy games. It's what you make of it, and it's again, I'll say it again, it's just more about our preparation this week and being ready for Salford's best.
And one last thing from me. You said on Friday night after Castleford that this next game, obviously it was a long turnaround. You said, we'd probably prefer to play this game on the Saturday afternoon after Friday night. So what does it do for you, the fact that you've had this long turnaround? Has it like allowed that to fester a bit more, and is there going to be an effect on the players there because they've had to wait that so long, the turnaround, after such a frustrating performance?
Sometimes you say things in the heat of the battle, in the heat of the moment. Sorry, you want to get over the loss as quick as you can, but I think the generation coming through forget losses a lot quicker than people of my generation. So, I sense coming Tuesday they were really hurting about the loss, but also getting ready for the game this Sunday.
Okay.